Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Christians and Culture. Today we're going to be talking about a very well known section of Scripture that I think interacts with our culture in a way that we don't typically, I should say, we don't properly we don't properly express the way Scripture actually states it. The section of Scripture I'm talking about is one that you almost certainly know. In fact, most non Christians know it. It's very well known. It's what's called the Golden Rule. Luke 6, verse 31. Do to others as you would have them do to you. Very simple verse, right? Seems pretty plain. Do unto others as you would have them do to you. We envision giving nice things away to people who are in need. We envision holding the door open as we go into a grocery store. Being patient in line as someone is taking a while to order at the fast food place. Being considerate is what we typically think of it as. And make no mistake, I think that being considerate is to be wrapped up in that verse. That is certainly something we need to do as Christians. That is a way to exemplify Christian love, is to be considerate of others, show kindness. But do you know the context of this scripture? Let me give you the context of this scripture. Luke 6, going back to verse 27. But to you who are listening, I say, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you. If someone slaps you on one cheek, turn to them the other also. If someone takes your coat, do not withhold your shirt from them. Give to everyone who asks you, and if anyone takes what belongs to you, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them do to you. The entire context of that scripture is wrapped up in enemies. Those who are not doing to us what we would like them to do. The whole context was, if someone is doing you wrong, you answer with proper love. You answer with what you would rather see them do to you. I think Christians, for the most part, we do a fairly good job of exemplifying consideration for those who are nice to us. Someone who is maybe down on their luck. Maybe they're homeless or they're struggling. The job was taken away from them, or just things aren't going well. We don't have a problem saying, do unto them as I would like done to me. We consider that a good thing. When we see someone in need on the side of the road, we don't typically have an issue with the idea of, I should stop and help them because they're in need and I should do unto others. But when it comes to doing unto others in the stance of an enemy, in the stance of someone who is actively working against me, unfortunately, I think in that case, we typically look just like the rest of the culture. The world very much looks like the Old Testament law. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. That's how the world lives. Someone does something to you, do it back to them. Or do even more back to them. At the very least, you need to get even, but maybe you should get more. That's how the world acts. The idea that we should go meet an enemy with love is just entirely absent from the world at large. We live in a culture that gives no quarter for forgiveness, gives no quarter for being nice to someone who is not themselves being nice back. It's all blood for blood. And unfortunately, as Christians, we don't typically separate ourselves in a better manner. Oh, there are occasionally really good examples of this. You'll see a story on the news of someone who, a child was murdered, and they're in court, and they get up and they forgive the murderer in court. And we think, oh, wow, that's so amazing. That's so profound. That shows the love of God so dearly. But the problem is, it's also so incredibly rare that it makes the news. Now, don't get me wrong. I hope none of us are ever in the situation where we have to give that kind of love to someone. That kind of situation is born out of terrible tragedy. But as Christians, it's supposed to be our default position to love our enemies. We typically think of the verse, do unto others, in the context of those who have never done us any wrong, who are maybe down on their luck. And like I said at the beginning, we absolutely should take care of those people. That is a Christian command. But the command to do unto others was given specifically in the context of those who are not our friends. Those who are actively working against us, those who have slapped us on one cheek, those who have stolen our coat, those who have asked us to give them something with no intention of giving it back. That was the context of do unto others. That's antithetical to the culture we live in. And yet that makes it all the more powerful of an example when we actually do it. When we take our time to show love to someone who has only shown us hate, everyone around stops and says, wait a minute, what's different about them? Where did they get that kind of love? Where did they get that kind of answer? Because I, like everyone else around me, if I'm wronged, I'm going to react with a wrong back to the person who did it. Justice will have to be served. Eye for an eye. That's how I react. But this person right here, they were done wrong, and they met him with love. Unfortunately, I don't think many Christians exemplify this. I know even in my own life, I don't exemplify this in the best way that I could. But if we're going to interact with a culture that I think we can all agree is heading swiftly down the wrong path, it has to start by showing ourselves as different. And too often Christians in the past, we've wanted to show ourselves as different by, well, we're just going to dress differently. We won't say certain words. We won't go see certain movies. And make no mistake, I'm not saying we should go see certain movies or say certain words or dress like everyone else. But if we really want to separate ourselves, it's not done by the outside. It's done by the inside. It's done by how we internally act towards others, how we take the love that we've been shown by Christ and give it. Do unto others was given in the context of an enemy. The next time you find yourself in a situation where someone is doing you wrong, ask yourself, am I exemplifying that golden rule? It's easy enough when everyone's giving you a pat on the back and the person who receives a gift from you is so grateful that they got it. It's easy enough to do unto others at that point, but that wasn't where Christ called people to do it. He called them to do it when they were totally wronged, when the person across from them was doing them evil. We're called to do the same. That's it for today. I will see you guys in the next Christians and Culture video next week. Until then, have a good weekend, everyone.